Hello, and welcome to another coffee break. We are here talking about HSAs this month and how they work, and should you use them, should you not, are you eligible for them? We'll go through all of that so that you can make an educated decision of whether or not an HSA makes sense for you. And so let's get into it. All right, so what is Coffee Break? Coffee Break is made for 401k participants. If you're currently um, participating in your 401k or you're eligible and you just aren't, or get benefits from work, this is kind of for you guys. You guys don't get a lot of education on different things that are available to you or what's going on. So we just do generic videos to help you figure it out for yourself. Um, it is quick and easy strategies to look at your financial future. And these videos are 15 minutes or less. So the whole idea is coffee break, grab a cup of coffee, drink it while you're watching it, and hopefully get a nice little education out of it and get back to work when you're supposed to. Today, just a reminder, we are covering highlights. We are not making any kind of recommendations to anybody to do anything personally. This is just for information and education. So if you would like a complimentary no obligation call so that we can actually listen to your situation and maybe give you some guidance on your situation, there will be a QR code at the end of the video. So feel free to set up a time to chat. Okay, so who is we? One Vision Retirement. We are Lisa Sakai, that's me, and my business partner, Christopher Whalen. We have lots of years of experience, as you can see, in the industry. I tend to do a lot of personal planning, so I work with a lot of employees like yourselves, trying to figure this out and see what's going on. Chris tends to work a lot with the business owners. So if you're a business owner, happen to watching this because you are 401k participant as well, probably, then he might be able to help you put some things in place for your employees that can help both with your bottom line and maybe some tax deductions, also with employee retention and making sure you're doing the right thing for your employees that you love so much. Okay, so let's start with what an HSA is. HSA is health savings account. A health savings account is an account that you can use to save for health related expenses. Typically, you can get them through work, but some people get them independently as well. Or if you're a very small business owner, you can get them for you and your wife, or you and your husband, or partner as well. Things like that. So they are available if you aren't a big company employee with those kind of benefits. They are tax deductible. So meaning that the contributions that go in are tax deductible, they grow tax-free and they come out tax-free as long as you are withdrawing the money for qualified medical expenses. The withdrawals are tax-free as well. If you are taking money out to pay off a credit card bill that went to Amazon too much, that will not be considered to be a qualified expense. And so you will have to pay taxes and penalties on those. So, how much can you contribute to an HSA? Now, for 2024, the numbers are this. Obviously, every year they change. But for 2024, you can put in $4,150 if you are a single person and $8,300 for a family. Also, if you're over 55, it does have a catch up. So you can put in another $1,000 on top of that. Now, your employer can also contribute to this. And if they do, it actually limits how much you can put in. So let's give an example. You're 45 years old and you're single. Your limit that you can put in is $4,150, right? $4,150. If your employer is nice and gives $1,000 to it, now you can only contribute $3,150. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so we're going to go through about 3 reasons why you should use this, why it would be a pro, and then the last slide we're going to go through why these might be cons for you. We never tell anybody blanketly that they should do something or not. Everything is dependent on their situation, so you need to figure out what works for you, right? So many times an HSA is paired with a high deductible medical plan. In fact, all the time, really. I really have never seen a situation where it isn't. I think it's even required that it has to be attached to a high yield, or I'm sorry, to a high deductible medical plan. But the nice thing is that an HSA can help um, offload some of those expenses for you. So if you have copays, if you have a $6,000 deductible beforehand, you can use your HSA account to pay for those things. And so that your out of pocket is much less. And again, you've gotten a tax deduction for that money that you put in, plus it's coming out tax free. So you're not getting taxed on that as long as it's a qualified medical expense. And so over time, this can really actually grow to become an asset. Some of them are invested in the stock market, some of them aren't. Just depends on how yours is set up. And you can't contribute over the age of 65, but you can use the funds for over 65. So if you are worried about Medicare premiums or long-term care expenses in the future, maybe you aren't able to get long-term care insurance as something that's available to you because of health reasons, this can actually help with some of those costs that might be out of pocket for long-term care. So it's a really nice tool to offset any kind of healthcare issues that are in the future that insurance might not cover. Another reason to do this is funds don't expire. So you can't contribute after age 65, but you can use them still. So that's kind of nice, is having this money available for when you need it. So let's say you have a $5,000 deductible health insurance plan and you decide you're just going to pay out of pocket, right? You don't even make the deductible half the time. You don't even need the deductible half the time, because you go to the doctor once a year or something like that, right? And these funds just keep growing and growing. This can be something nice so that if you do have a big expense out of pocket, you're able to use them. And so that is nice that you don't have an expiration date necessarily attached to it. The third reason to look at it is that you can move them from job to job. So as long as you still meet the eligibility requirements, you can tend to roll them from job to job, and you can bring them to you independently if for some reason your job doesn't offer it, which is kind of nice. So again, it's kind of like your 401k where you are able to roll it from job site to job site if you need to. All right. So why should you not use an HSA? Well, there are some things that we've talked about, which is, it has to be used for healthcare expenses. Otherwise, there are penalties if you are under the age of 65. And so you are going to have some penalties, plus you're going to have an extra tax associated with any growth in it. So that's just one thing. You've got to remember that this is not going to be used for retirement purposes necessarily, other than for healthcare expenses, which I would say is probably one of the top 3 concerns people have about retirement is, am I going to run out of money is one of them, but the other one is healthcare. How expensive is healthcare going to be, especially if you are one of those people that want to retire early. Let's say you want to retire at 50 or 55. Healthcare can be very expensive depending on where you live, out of pocket, paying for the insurance on your own. So this might be something to look into and utilize if you are going to be in one of those situations where you're going to have to come out of pocket quite a bit. So that is one of the reasons you might want to use one, but also that's a reason that you might not, because it's taking away from savings, other places that are a little bit more flexible in what you can use. Also, they have to be with a high deductible plan. Many people don't necessarily want to do the high deductible plans, but that's how they're used. That's what they're associated with. There are fees associated to this. There might be monthly fees, a percentage per transaction. So you just want to make sure that you understand the fees. Also, I was reading that there can be overdraft charges. So keep that in mind too. I was not aware of that. I've never had a client have that issue, but it's possible to have that come up. And just remember, investments have the restrictions within the plan, but also there's risk when it comes to investing. So if your HSA is one of those ones that are invested in the market, they can definitely go up, but they can definitely go down too. So just make sure that you are keeping that in mind, that there is risk associated with that. And so, just in conclusion, make sure you do your research on an HSA. They're sometimes right, they're sometimes not right, right? Some people love the idea of having something just for healthcare that has some tax benefits. Other people go, no, I don't want to do that. See what's available for you. If it's not offered at your place of work, look into if you're eligible to do one outside of work. Sometimes you are, sometimes you aren't. And then look into your budget and available cash, because obviously this is an extra, I wouldn't call it an expense, savings bucket. And how is that going to interact with your other savings buckets? Would I tell somebody to save to this over their 401k or over retirement or just general savings? No, I think an emergency fund for sure for most people is going to be the primary thing to be looking at saving towards. After that, it gets kind of murky. And so you just want to make sure that you are looking at your budget, making sure you can afford it, because it's not easy to get out once you do put that money in there. We have tons of YouTube videos up there, both these coffee talks plus other little things I talk about, lots of different things out there. So if you would like to take a look at more YouTube videos, that is where we have them. That's our channel, I should say. And this is a QR code. So if you are interested in setting up a time to chat, use your phone, open up your camera app, hold it over the QR code, and it should pop up to be able to make an appointment with us. Typically pretty short appointments. I think this is the 15 or 30-minute meeting. So nothing too long to make sure that we aren't wasting any of your time. And this is just to get to know you. This is not any kind of pitch or any kind of proposal. Is just to help you figure out some things and see if we can be of some service. These are other channels. If you are not a QR person, you can do any of these other things. Email us, as good old-fashioned email works. Go to our website, see what's up there, see what we're doing and how we specialize and how we differ from other firms out there. And then also, I do a lot on LinkedIn. Feel free to connect with me, and happy to have conversations there, or, obviously just interact with each other. So with that, we are at about 12 minutes and 30 seconds. I did that pretty quickly, which I love. And let us know if you have any more questions when it comes to an HSA. We are happy to help, as we don't do health insurance, but it is an integral part of your retirement planning. So until next time.